I have to
Yep.
wait for the recording to go. Yep. Okay, now it's recording. All right. Welcome everybody to the APAC community call. Today we are actually going to focus on three 10-minute tutorials from different folks. One from Xiaoling on I believe it's White Rabbit, Rabbit and Hat, and then Professor Yu is going to give us a spin on data quality dashboard. Or no, Usagi, I'm sorry, Usagi.
Right.
Usagi. And then Shilva will give us a spin on the data quality dashboard. Okay, so I'm sorry, I got all that mixed up. But before we go there, like our usual, do we have anyone new in the community that we would like to, or they would like to say hi to all of us while we talk about vaccines?
Yes. Hi. My name is Simon. Yeah, I'm new. And I just joined Acquia last week. So my role is ETL developer. Yeah. So I'm new to this community. And I will attend more calls and try to learn more from you. Thank you.
Welcome, Simon. I'm going to call you Simon because it's easier to remember.
Yeah, Simon.
Okay. Anyone else that's new that wants to say hi? Ian, how's out of quarantine? How does it feel to have left 21 days of quarantine?
It's amazing. After you come out from 21-day quarantine, having lunch box, dinner box, breakfast box, you just realize how wonderful the food in Hong Kong is. So any cooking will be better than in quarantine.
Yeah, how was the Peking duck?
Yes, how was the Peking duck?
It was great. It was so great. I couldn't stop eating.
Is it the best Peking duck you've had your whole life, even though you've probably eaten it like 100 times?
Well, last few days, everything is the best ever had in my life. 21 days quarantine will just change your perspective of life.
Wow, yes. All right, that's our news from Ian. News from the OHDSI Global in the last 2 weeks. So last week, what they did was they had a debate. There were two different debates, and they're doing a couple of these throughout the OHDSI community calls, talking about some of the different things that everybody debates about, but never really in the open. So this time they made it very in the open. So the two debates is, the first one is what's more important, keeping the OHDSI vocabulary up to date through a continuous release cycle, or doing kind of versioning and taking it slow, right? Because right now the vocabulary updates itself about every 2 weeks. So there are some questions about, is that too quick? So should we do it on a quarterly basis instead? So that debate was between Christian and Peter on the two different ends. So feel free to listen to that. The second debate was on either using what's better, a distributed network or a centralized network. And that debate was between Kristen and Andrew. So if you guys have an interest in that, feel free to go out there and listen to that. The other thing that happened this week, which we will cover a little bit in a little bit, is they did talk about the study-a-thon that happened with the Pioneer group and their progress. And Jing will be providing an update on that in a bit. But we do want to say congratulations to the Asia Pacific side team here for this publication into JAMIA last week. So congratulations if you guys are on this call. Wonderful. And the other thing I want to bring up is this new OHDSI Center. And I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but the OHDSI Center is, oh, it starts clicking. It's at Northeastern, and they're creating an OHDSI Center here. This is the website. Again, you just need to click on this guy. It's focused on really learning and education. So if you guys go here, you can see the different things that they're going to be supporting, including badges, certifications, and graduate degree opportunities. So again, if you guys have an interest in learning more about OHDSI and how to work in OHDSI through an official institution, you can go here. They're going to do a lot of tutorials, a lot of classes, a lot of teaching people how to do research, helping people write grants, so on and so on and so on. If you have an interest, feel free to come to the site, fill in this information, and they will reach out to you. Okay. The other news that I want to introduce that has to do with Asia Pacific is this article that just came out today. Today or yesterday? Yes, today. I believe today. So if you go to the OHDSI News and Updates and News, the 6 Asia Pacific Regional Chapter updates are out there as we did a paper on it. So we wrote a 2-pager based on the presentations that you guys did on what is going on in Asia Pacific, so it could be highlighted. OHDSI is actually publishing this in Twitter as well as LinkedIn. So feel free to go there and find them and retweet to your fellow OHDSIans, if that's even a word. But if you click on it, again, it goes a little bit into detail about what's going on. Again, this was all part of the presentation that you guys did, but we wanted to highlight a lot more about what is going on in all the different chapters to the global communities. So this is something we want to do on an ongoing basis. And right now I am working with OHDSI Global and will invite the leaders of the different chapters to discuss how can we sync up the two sides, right? One of the idea is to have recordings from the global side, all the different working groups, to give an update so that we can play it over here. And then also recordings from this group that we can play over on the global side. Craig is thinking about different ideas on how to do that. So as we build up these ideas, we will include the chapter leaders to get their opinions and to get their take on how we can do more interactive as well as communication between and bridging between the two different groups. Okay. Lastly, that I want to share with you guys. Yes. Somebody have a question? Cool. Lastly, I want to share is Atlas. So yesterday, Atlas 2.9 has been released. Of everything, there's a bunch of APIs out there, but what I do want to highlight on is not the APIs, is the localization of this of Atlas. So last year and probably a little bit in the year before, the Korean community, the China community worked with OHDSI, especially Evanet. I know Chan's team, Aju University, IQVIA Korea, and S9U in China and IQVIA China, and the ODCS engineering team. They worked together to do all the translation of the Atlas web pages to translate them into either Korean or Chinese. And that was a big effort that went in place. And now finally, because 2.8 was in our way, it is now released and you can download it. So you can just go to the GitHub repository and you can go get the newest and latest version. So what does the newest and latest version look like, right? So if you have it, you download it, it's going to look like this. It looks exactly like what you're used to, right? The English over here. But again, if you change the languages over here, so we got Korean right here, everything is now in Korean, except for, of course, like the release notes, because those are not customizable. But anything that were labels or buttons or anything here, it has been changed. We've spent a lot of time, the Korean teams OHDSI Korean teams have spent a lot of time doing all of this and making sure they were medically sound as well. So you can see condition errors even changed. So all of this is now in Korean. Same thing here, you can search. Now, I don't remember if you can actually type Korean in here and it'll find it. But I know Athena, you can type the local language in there and it'll find it because of the synonyms. I just can't remember if Atlas has the same feature. But you can see everything is now in Korean, right? Even the headers up there, everything is in Korean. So it's the same thing. If I switch this to Chinese, you will see exactly the same thing if I actually refresh. So it takes a little while to refresh, but now everything is in Chinese as well. So again, every page, if you go here, creating a new cohort, everything is in Chinese. You can pull the drop-down list. Everything is in Chinese. Sorry, this is probably a little too small for you guys, so let me make it bigger. But again, I can switch between the languages. And what we've been able to do with this is make this very dynamic, where it's a file that can be loaded. So what we can do now is give the file to folks like the Japanese team, the Japanese OHDSI team, if they want to take this and then make this Japanese as well. It's just a configuration file that we can add in, so you don't really need to have a brand new release or anything every single time. It's just a configuration file that can be added to any release. So it's quite simple. We can add all kinds of different languages. You can see they even tried it with Russian, so if you can read Russian, this is the Russian version of it as well. So we do have 3 different languages. Doesn't always work. As you can see, that's Chinese and this is Russian. Don't switch them in between while you're doing what I do. But it was a lot of effort put in by the Asia Pacific community. So I want to give a great thank you to all those that participated and helped out to create these different versions and now finally seeing it released. So thank you very much for those who helped out with this. Next, we will go to, so like I mentioned, there is a Pioneer, they did a Pioneer overview, and we got some information about how people can join the Pioneer study-a-thon if you're still interested. So Jing is going to give you a really brief 2 to 3 minutes update on Pioneer. So Jing, do you want to take it over?
Sure, can I hear me well?
Yep.
Cool. So just want to so it's going to be a quick introduction. So Pioneer is a OHDSI community network that is specifically working on OHDSI studies about prostate cancer. And then, so there was just a study song about a month and a half ago that a lot of definitely global involvement. Also, I think a few APAC data sources or APAC collaborators also joined the study zone earlier. And today I want to quickly share about the study protocol that is here, that was from the study zone, which is, can you see my screen? Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. So it is about again, it's about prostate cancer, and a study specifically about for those prostate cancer patients that are undergoing a non-interventional, so not really doing a lot of treatment, and what is the impact of the comorbidities and the life expectancies of, while they're going through kind of the watchful waiting or something like that. And also there has been kind of different stage of the work, which I won't really go through all of the details, but we'll again kind of start with the feasibility checks, the characterization, and then kind of the comparison here, and to look at patients' comorbidity. There are a long list of different comorbidities that this study are looking into, and also of course their life expectancies of those patients. And if you're interested in this study and want to join Pioneer Network, please contact Susan, which I will send Susan and Pioneer, which you can find actually in OHDSI Network as well, kind of Pioneer, and then they will provide you with more information of joining Pioneer as a organization or as a contributor, and kind of what the detailed studies are about, and all the other collaborators together.
Awesome, thank you. So any questions so far on any of the content we shared? Okay, then we're going to have Xiaoling, who's going to be presenting on the white rabbit and rabbit in a hat. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Morning.
No question. Right? Before we start the technical tutorials, would it be possible? Do we have 2 minutes for Niam to do a very quick update about Singapore chapter?
Of course.
He's getting some promising news from our government.
We welcome. Yes, please.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Mui. So thanks for this very quick 2 minutes. We were very excited because we've been doing a couple of projects. I think Selva has been, and Morning has been working on the APAC hypertension study. We want to pick up some of the original conversations we have around genomic CDM. We are going into a phase of our studies and our projects that will be going towards genomics in terms of pharmacogenomics. So this is not just research, this is going to be production. And I'm kind of look forward to be able to work with the various parties on a genomic common data model going forwards. Now, the news from the ministry side in Singapore is that, like I mentioned earlier, we've we've actually convinced our ministry to use OMAP as the common data model throughout Singapore. Now we are in the negotiation to put in the effort to be able to align all data sets. And I just want to paint the vision here. The vision really is not just to make our retrospective data sets aligned to OMAP, but also to make prospective data sets aligned to OMAP. And this is going to change the way we do research, right? So instead of analyzing, 5 years of data and then we get some insights and publish a paper, and well, from a production basis, nothing quite happens after that. To now we can take those insights and automate them into production. So that's what we're aiming for. I know it's like crazy, it's like a very far-fetched dream, but we hope that one day we will be able to have implement research insights on the fly, as it were. So yeah, looking forward to that day and hope that we can learn from others in this group, and certainly we'll be happy to share any results that we have. Thank you.
Wonderful. That's wonderful news and great effort there on the front of convincing, the Ministry of Health. I wonder, do you guys know about the clinical trials working group? Because they were established, I believe, last year or the year before, specifically focusing on how to use the OMAP model for prospective studies and for, like you say, getting them on that side and not just for observational retrospective studies. I know they've moved quite far and they're talking about the different use cases that they can use the OMAP model for within the prospective study and how to modify the model or enhance the model to do prospective studies. So I don't know if you guys are part of that, but I do know the leader of that group, and I can introduce you guys to the leader of that group.
Yeah, if you could do that, because I tell you what we are super excited about. We are putting in an automated system to recruit patients based on fixed inclusion criteria on phenotypes. That means that no doctor has to go and hunt down a potential person. This is done completely on the back end, automated by the connection between the EHR system and our AI system called Endeavor AI. So I think that will change the way we do research, right? We are not going to take 3 years to recruit 150 patients. We're going to recruit 300 patients in 1 year or something like that, right? So very excited, and certainly hope that we can be connected to that group.
Yeah, and I know that's something that they're aiming for as well. So, and that is where they want to at least first start, is how do you, because it's no different. It's like a feasibility in the retrospective side, right? It's building cohorts and figuring out who the patients are and being able to identify those afterwards. So it's from that use case point of view, it's very similar. So I know that is one of their targets, and I see Chan is nodding. So I don't know, Chan, are you on the clinical trial working group as well?
Not yet.
Okay.
Yeah, but in this week, in the NJM, there is a one pragmatic clinical trial was published by using CDM database data network. It was not actually OMAP CDM data network. It used PicoreNet CDM data network. The trial name was adaptable, and it compared the aspirin dosages and. It was the first pragmatic clinical trial using nationwide CDM data network of United States, and as the first study, it was published in NEJM, and I also hope to conduct a similar study by using MAP CDM data network internationally.
Awesome. Okay, I will connect you to the clinical trials working group leader, and then you guys can go from there, because then I think you guys can learn a lot from them and all the use cases that they've already gone through, so you don't have to repeat some of that information yourself. Wonderful news. Thank you for the update.
Thanks, Mui. Sorry to take up more than 2 minutes.
Oh, no, that's okay. That's what these calls are for. It's great to hear all this on these calls. We would love more of these interruptions. Really. So any of the chapters, if you have any of this type of interruption, feel free. Okay. So without further ado, I am going to move it to Xialing, who will demonstrate Rabbit in a Hat and White Rabbit. Xialing.